All right, thanks everyone for being here. I'm going to officially call to order the Planning Commission meeting. Today is Monday, September 8th, and it's 6:07 p.m. If everyone can stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, can we have a roll call?
Commissioner McNally,
Here.
Commissioner Hoffman,
Here.
Commissioner Flaherty,
Here.
Vice Chair Zant,
Here.
Chair Hirsch.
Here.
You have a quorum.
Thank you. Moving on to item number 4, approval of agenda. Can we have a vote?
Move to. I move to approve the agenda. Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Do we do roll call vote or online? Perfect.
Voting is open.
Did you guys get it? Mine is also not coming up. You voted?
I did.
I'm showing that 2 of you are not showing on the electronic voting. So Commissioner McNally,
Approved.
Commissioner Hoffman,
Yes.
Commissioner Flaherty,
Yes.
Vice Chair Zant,
Yes.
Chair Hirsch.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. We'll now move on to item number 5, the public comment portion of the meeting. This is the time for members of the public to address the Planning Commission on items listed on the special meeting agenda only. Public comments are limited to 3 minutes per speaker. Do we have any public comments?
Is this just for the agenda, or can I talk about the JAMA project on ECH now?
So if there is a item for which there's a public hearing, you can save your comments for that. You can only speak on one item once, so either now or during the public comment period for that item.
I don't recall which one is JAMA, so you guys will let me know, I'm sure.
Yes. Okay. Is public comment open to online people as well, or just people in chambers?
No hands are raised.
Okay. Then I will close the public comment portion of the meeting and move on to item number 6, consent calendar. The following matters will be acted upon collectively with a single motion and vote to approve with the majority consent of the Planning Commission. Commissioners may orally register a negative vote on any consent calendar item without pulling the item for separate consideration before the vote on the consent calendar. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless the commissioner removes an item from the consent calendar, either under approval of the agenda or under this item before the vote on the consent calendar. Items removed for separate discussion will be provided a separate public comment period. Do we have a motion to approve the consent calendar?
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Can we have a vote?
I will have to do a voice vote again. Commissioner McNally,
Approved.
Commissioner Hoffman,
Yes.
Commissioner Flaherty,
Yes.
Vice Chair Zant,
Yes.
Chair Hirsch.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Great. All right, we'll now begin the public hearing portion of the meeting, starting with item number 7A, conditional use permit CUP 24-11, precise development plan PDP 24-12, and tentative parcel map TPM number 84586 to allow 2 new 30-foot tall residential condominium buildings at 624 First Place in the 2-family residential R2 zone, case number 25-CDD-124. Is there a staff report?
Good evening, Chair. Yes, Assistant Planner Dee Dee Tran will provide the staff presentation for you.
Perfect.
All right, thank you and good evening. As mentioned, my name is Dee Dee Tran, and I will be delivering the presentation tonight on this item. And it's nice to meet you. This is my first time before you. Tonight's discussion is regarding 2 condominiums at 624 First Place. Let's see. And the request before you this evening, as stated in the agenda, is to approve a conditional use permit, a precise development plan, and a tentative parcel map to allow 2 new detached condominium buildings, and to determine that the project is categorically exempt from the California Environmental Quality Act. The subject property is an interior lot developed at 4,590 square feet, currently with a single-family home, which was built in 1923, but has also been significantly altered since that time. A historic resource assessment concluded that the building would not be eligible for any historic listings or as a resource, as it did not meet any of the criteria for inclusion in the National Register of Historic Places, the California Register of Historic Resources, or as the City of Hermosa landmark. And there will be no net loss of housing, and in fact, this project would increase housing by 1 home. This is a photo of the existing conditions of the single-family residence as viewed from First Place. The approval of this project would increase the number of units by 1, as the existing single-family residence would be demolished and 2 new homes would be constructed. Additionally, based on information collected from the prior residents of the property via forms furnished by the city, no units were deemed protected units and need not be replaced. Shown here is the city's zoning map that provides additional context showing the location of the property in relation to adjacent streets, zoning districts, and residences. The applicant proposes to construct 2 new detached condominium buildings with new front-facing unit as Unit A at First Place, resulting in 2,878 square feet of living area, while the unit at the rear of the lot, known as Unit B, would result in 3,080 square feet of living area. Vehicular access to the site would be provided from First Place via a single 9-foot 2-inch wide long shared driveway. This driveway would lead to 2 two-car garages for each unit, as well as a shared guest parking space adjacent to the garage on the rear unit, Unit B. Each unit will have a sub-level and 2 non-subterranean levels with a rooftop deck space at the top of each. There is an open deck space for each unit, and trees and landscaping will be provided for the site. As shown in this chart, the project as proposed is fully compliant with the development standards within the R2 zone, as demonstrated in this chart, including height, lot coverage, and parking. Additionally, the project is also in compliance with the private open space, providing slightly more than 300 square feet per unit, and will also provide 3 trash bins for each home. In addition to meeting the development standards within the R2 zone, the project is also compliant with the condominium standards as shown in this slide, including minimum lot size, minimum private storage space, and the required front yard setback. Anticipated impacts from this project and the approval of the CUP, PDP, and tentative parcel map are shown. Expected impacts are transitory in nature and pertain to construction noise, dust, and vibrations. Approval of this project would result in an increase of housing and provide for ownership opportunities for residents. In this slide, we have the south elevation of Unit B and the north elevation of Unit A, and you can get a sense of the architectural style. And in this slide, we have the proposed south elevation of Unit B, the north elevation of Unit A, as well as the west exterior elevation of both units, and the architectural style depicted again. Here is our proposed floor plan, of the basement level. And the two units mirror each other closely, with the front-facing unit resulting in slightly less square footage and the Unit B slightly more. On the sub-level floor of each unit, there is an elevator hoistway, garage, laundry room, and a bedroom with an attached bathroom, as well as stairway leading to the first level. On the first level of each unit lies the principal bedroom, suite, and bath, 2 additional bedrooms and bathrooms, an elevator hoistway, and a stairway leading to the second floor. On this second level of each unit, there is a kitchen, living area, a powder room, the elevator hoistway, and a stairway leading to the roof deck. And here is the roof plan, which includes an open space roof deck area of 365 square feet, 100 square feet of which is contributing to the project's open space. This project has been thoroughly evaluated for conformance with the Hermosa Beach Municipal Code standards for conditional use permits, as identified in Hermosa Beach Municipal Code Section 175650, precise development plans as identified in Hermosa Beach Municipal Code Section 175830, and subdivisions identified in Hermosa Beach Municipal Code Section 16.8.60, and is discussed in greater detail on pages 4 through 9 of your staff report. The project has also been evaluated for conformance with the city's general plan and was found to be consistent with, among others, Policy 2.3 of the land use element to promote a diverse range of housing unit types and sizes within the allowed medium density. Additionally, the project supports Policy 2.2 and 2.4, which encourage development of safe, sound, and decent housing and to promote home ownership in the community. And additionally, the project was further evaluated for compliance with the California Environmental Quality Act and was determined to qualify for a Class 3 categorical exemption under Section 15303 for new construction. For public noticing of this project, 600 mailers were sent out to property owners and renters within a 500 square foot radius of the subject site, as shown on this radius map. On August 12th, 2005, and a legal ad was published on August 28th in the Easy Reader. Furthermore, a public noticing poster was placed on the site 10 days ahead of the public hearing in accordance with Hermosa Beach Municipal Code Section 176850. There has been one public comment which has been provided to the Commission. Lastly, this brings us to staff's recommendation. Staff is recommending that the Planning Commission adopt Resolution 2514, determining that the project is categorically exempt from the California Environmental Quality Act, and approve Conditional Use Permit 2411, Precise Development Plan 2412, and Tentative Parcel Map number 84586 to allow 2 new condominium buildings at 624 First Place in the 2-family residential zone, subject to the included conditions. This concludes staff's presentation, and I'm happy to answer any questions that the Commission may have. In addition, the applicant is also available in the chambers tonight to answer any questions as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Do any of my fellow commissioners have questions of staff at this time regarding the staff report? All right. Yes, go ahead.
I'm just a little, I need some clarification because I don't quite understand. In the project plans, they're on page 16 and 17 where a stormwater discharge pump station, and I thought that was further down the block. Why is that included in this particular project?
In the C sheets? Is that correct?
Project plans. On page 16 and 17, there's just a number of drafts of a stormwater discharge pump station. I, once again, believed that had been down the block.
Commissioner, if I may answer. So every project site, as they are redeveloping, integrate devices to capture the stormwater on site. So that's a standing Clean Water Act federal regulation that's trickles down through the state. So with every new development, they are employing different devices. So in this case, they have a device on site buried to capture the rainwater.
Okay, I appreciate the explanation.
Thank you.
All right. Any other questions? All right. Do any commissioners have disclosures to make? I will start with Commissioner Flaherty.
Visited site.
Visited the site.
None.
Visited the site.
Yeah, I did a site visit.
Great. We'll now begin the comment portion of the hearing. All questions and comments on this matter are to be directed to the commission, not to the audience. Is the applicant present? Please approach the podium to make your presentation.
Good evening, Chair Hirsch and Commissioners. I'm Stacy Strauss from Soror and Associates on behalf of the applicant. We're seeking your approval of a precise development plan, use permit for condominiums, and tentative subdivision map. I'd like to thank the staff for their tireless hours in working with the project designer, who is also a part owner in the project. As Planner Tran mentioned, she actually gave a very comprehensive report. I don't have much to add to it. I listened, and she gave a very thorough information on this project. I'd just like to point out a couple things. This is different from a 2-unit multifamily project. This is a condominium project that comes with CC&Rs. It's a tremendous benefit to the community in that the CC&Rs, covenants, conditions, and restrictions are recorded document. And that means that any current owner or future owner agrees to abide by that document. The document is reviewed twice by the city prior to its recordation. And it comes with things like the garage will only be used for vehicular parking and not for storage or additional recreation space. It comes with a restriction such as the guest parking is to remain open and accessible and only used for guest parking and not by the occupants of the units. So those are some benefits of subdividing and having the units eligible for individual ownership so that you can have commitment to the community, et cetera. In addition, the project also takes an underutilized lot and brings it into consistency with your general plan and your site's inventory. This is a site that's identified for R2, and this application brings you exactly what you requested in your zoning. And again, brings additional housing to the community that's much needed. Fees to the city in the form of school fees, plan check fees, permit fees, and when the assessor reassesses the lot after construction, some additional tax dollars for the community. So with that, I'm available for additional questions, but we do ask for your approval of the project.
Thank you. Is there anyone from the public that wishes to speak on this item? Reminder that you have up to 3 minutes, and we will accept Zoom call-ins.
Good evening. My name is Christopher Tesser. I live at 925 8th Street in Hermosa Beach. I'm actually here for the next item, but I was looking at the slides, and I just want to make a comment. One of the goals of the city is to promote housing availability for people of varying incomes. We all know this is not going to do that. And it's sad, and I don't have an answer to it. This is clearly an improvement over what is there, but it's sad to see that we're going to have another couple of $3.5 million homes, and it does not provide housing for people of varying incomes. So I don't know how the city is going to implement that goal, but this won't do it. And it's no disrespect to you. I understand economics all too well. I just felt the need to comment on that. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else in chambers that wishes to speak on behalf of this item? Seeing none, we'll look to online. Are there any online?
There are no online speakers at this time.
Okay. Does the applicant wish to make any further comment before we close the public comment portion of the meeting?
Thank you for allowing me to address you again. I do agree that it is a city of interest to provide a variety of housing in the community. This project is not designed to provide anything other than moderate or market rate units. That's correct. We would ask that you as the city not lay the burden of that on one lot in this city. That is a citywide issue that we hope that can be addressed on a citywide basis, but not to lay the burden of finding appropriate income level housing on a single property owner. But I agree it's a need. I guess I have no additional comments.
Thank you. Before we close the public comment portion of the hearing, I will ask my fellow commissioners if you have any questions of the applicant. All right, seeing none, I'll now close the public comment portion of the hearing and bring the matter back to the commission for discussion and deliberation. Who wants to kick us off? How about Vice Chair Izant?
Yeah.
Thank you, Chair Hirsch. So one thing that I am pleased to hear is in the CC&R is that a garage has to be used as a garage. The only thing that I have to smile a little bit about was that I did a number of years ago live in a 2-unit condo that had CC&Rs, and it said that if there was a conflict between the two owners, that it went to the resolution dispute committee. Which of course were the two owners. And if they couldn't agree, it then was escalated up to the president and the vice president of the association. And that's not going to solve anything here tonight. I don't know if you have those kind of provisions, and actually I don't need to know. I just had to bring that out. I'm going to support the project.
Commissioner Flaherty?
Sure. First, I welcome the investment that the property owners are putting into this new building. As you drive through town, we don't get anything except we never see any R1s at this level. So when you drive through that section of R2 and see the new homes that have been built and first, second, third, and all that, it's impressive. So this will be a nice addition. There's, I think, one more smaller cottage house right across the street from this one that's hanging on by a thread. So looking forward. The other thing I would have to say is if the email we got tonight regarding the tree in the back, if that email could be presented to the representative eventually and then to the property owner, at least comment on it. Based on when I'm look at the plans and the new footing, the tree may be subject to be removal, but who knows? Just as long as you get a copy of that email, appreciate it. And I will be supporting this project.
Thank you. Commissioner Hoffman?
Thank you. Yeah, no, there are several goals in terms of housing, one of which, of course, is simply to increase the number, unfortunately. And I say that unfortunately because it's been imposed upon us, which this certainly does, with respect to the fact that it's a quote-unquote, not a historic home, it's just an old home, and I can say that with someone who lives in an old home. And somebody asked me prior to this meeting why we do this. And my answer was, we do this because 25 or 30 years ago, when this process first began, that is, people were buying up single-family homes in the R2 district and building 2 condos, we're still doing that. We're still seeing that, as Commissioner Flaherty mentions. We're kind of looking at 1 or 2 sites there that'll probably be inevitably the same process. And my sense is, because the process that we've done, this is a completely conforming project in every respect. It didn't used to be. When we got these projects, and the SOAR representative can speak to that, we used to get a lot of projects that weren't fully conforming or that were questionable in terms of what was conforming. And so this process, I think, has been not routinized, but has had a very positive impact in terms of the developments that have occurred. The tree, I think there's, what, a 7-foot setback there in that area, or 5 foot, I can't remember now. I'm not sure, as Commissioner Flaherty points out, that it's reasonable, even the canopy of the tree, if the trunk was able to be maintained, probably would have to go. That's almost inevitable. So I'm going to support the project. It's obviously, as I say, a fully conforming project at market rate.
Commissioner McNally?
Well, it's clearly that it is consistent with the neighborhood. If you drive down the block, many of the other buildings are quite consistent with the plans and the design. I just want to recognize the email we got today regarding this tree. I've been involved in other projects in which have been challenged by the removal of trees. Do we have any, I mean, I think it's Unit B that it would be sitting on top of the tree. Are there any restrictions for them to remove that, or are we totally able to do that?
Yeah, there is no tree preservation ordinance on private property.
Okay, thank you for the clearance.
I appreciate the applicant's detailed application. I think it's a good-looking design. I think it's completely in conformance with the project or with the zoning regulations, and I intend to support it. So I think if there are no other comments or deliberations, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll move staff recommendation.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Can we open up the vote?
Unfortunately, I'm not getting,
Voting is open.
Mine worked this time, luckily.
mine isn't working either.
Mine works.
I will do roll call vote. Commissioner McNally,
Approved.
Commissioner Flaherty,
Yes.
Commissioner Hoffman,
Yes?
Vice Chair Zant,
Yes.
Chair Hirsch.
Yes,
Motion carries 5-0.
thank you. All right, moving on to public hearing item number 7B, the precise development plan to remodel and divide an existing 4,750 square foot commercial building into multi-tenant commercial building. This is located at 700 PCH in the general and highway zone and housing element overlay Case number 25-CDD-117. Is there a staff report?
Thank you, Chair. Yes, Kanika Pompey, our contract planner, will provide this staff presentation for you. And I will pull it up in just one moment.
Thank you. Good evening, Chair and members of the Planning Commission. Again, my name is Kanika Pompey, and I will be delivering the presentation for this item for you this evening. The request before you, as stated in the agenda, is for a precise development plan to allow the interior and exterior remodel to divide an existing 4,750 square foot commercial building into a multi-tenant commercial building located at 700 Pacific Coast Highway. The project site is an existing 14,400 square foot interior lot located in the southeastern portion of the city, east of Pacific Coast Highway between 8th Street and 7th Street. The site has a general plan land use designation of service commercial and is zoned general and highway commercial. It is also located in the housing element overlay. Vehicle access to the site is provided from both 8th Street and 7th Street. The site is currently developed with a 4,750 square foot commercial building with surface parking consisting of 9 standard parking stalls and includes 4 palm trees. The site was originally developed in 1945 and was formerly a car dealership and repair shop, and is now vacant and has been vacant since 2022. The proposed project would divide the existing 4,750 square foot 1-unit building into a 6-unit multi-tenant building. The unit sizes will range from approximately 640 square feet to 840 square feet. The project will also include new surface parking layout and paving. Additionally, the project includes the removal of an unpermitted canopy located in the public right-of-way. And this area will be filled with compacted dirt and leveled to the height of the sidewalk. The project will also include approximately 950 square feet of new on-site landscaping. Here you can see a picture of the existing site from PCH. And then here's another angle from 8th Street. Well, the corner of 8th Street and PCH. The project was reviewed for compliance with development standards of the Hermosa Beach Municipal Code and complies with several of the development standards. Pursuant to Hermosa Beach Section 17.26.050, properties located within the C3 zone require an 8-foot side yard setback. However, the project, as is, has a 1-foot side yard setback, but the project is a renovation of the existing site, so therefore this nonconformity will be maintained. Additionally, the property currently has 9 parking stalls, and pursuant to Hermosa Beach Municipal Code, Section 17.44.015, when a new use other than a late-night alcohol establishment is established in an existing building, no additional parking spaces shall be required. So per the code, the site only required to maintain the 9 parking stalls, but the project actually proposes 16 parking stalls, which will consist of 9 standard stalls, 5 compact stalls, and 2 ADA stalls. The project was reviewed for compliance with the zoning code and general plan. As such, the project design, layout, and other physical features are consistent with the city's municipal code, general plan, and development standards. Additionally, the subject property is located in the housing element site inventory overlay. The purpose of this overlay is to identify sites designed by the city's housing element to satisfy the city's regional housing needs assessment. So for this site, per the city's housing element, 8 residential units were listed, 4 at moderate level of affordability and 4 at above moderate level of affordability. The project proposes to renovate the existing building, rather than redeveloping the site and incorporating residential units. The project, if approved, would extend the life of the existing improvements and reduce the likelihood that the site would be redeveloped during this cycle of the housing element. However, despite the reduction in units, the city would maintain a buffer of 64% above the RENA allocation for moderate income units and 6% above the allocation for above moderate units. Therefore, the city would maintain adequate capacity with the remaining RENA even with the approval of this project. The project has also been evaluated for compliance with the city's general plan, and relevant policies associated with this project are policies 1.3 of the city's land use element, which strives to create development where residents are within walking distance of neighborhood goods and services, and policy 1.7, all future uses will be subject to compliance with the permitted uses of the zone per the city's municipal code. Here is a rendering of the proposed development. The project proposes to subdivide the single-tenant commercial building into a 6-unit multi-tenant building. A trash enclosure housing 2 commercial waste bins would also be provided on the property. Currently, there is an unpermitted canopy that extends into the public right-of-way, and part of this project, the canopy and the block wall that encroaches into the public right-of-way will be removed, eliminating all encroachments into the public right-of-way. This project was reviewed and approved by the Public Works Department. The project proposes a total of about 1,800 square feet of new landscape, consisting of approximately 950 square feet of on-site landscaping and 850 square feet of off-site landscaping. And all landscaping would be subject to the city's water efficient landscape ordinance. The development proposes a contemporary architectural style and would utilize several materials such as black sheet metal, exterior plaster, IPE wood, and aluminum frame windows to break the monotony and create visual interest. And the design would be compatible with buildings in the surrounding area. Additionally, all rooftop equipment will be screened from public view. The project was reviewed for compliance with the California Environmental Quality Act, and the proposed project qualifies for a Class 1 categoric exemption, which is for existing facilities. And so since this project is renovating an existing facility, it will qualify for that exemption. For this meeting, the Planning Commission, a total of 570 public hearing notices were mailed to the applicant, occupants, and property owners of properties within a 300-foot radius on August 12th. Additionally, a legal ad was published on August 28th in the Easy Reader. Before this meeting, staff received 9 written public comments, which have been provided to the commission and the public. Lastly, this brings us to staff recommendation. Staff recommends the Planning Commission to consider adopting a resolution for a precise development plan, 24-14, to allow the interior and exterior remodel to divide an existing 4,750 square foot commercial building into a multi-tenant commercial building, subject to conditions, and determine the project is categorically exempt from CEQA. Thank you, and this concludes staff's presentation. I am available for questions, for any questions the commission may have, and the applicant is also available for questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Do any of my fellow commissioners have questions of staff at this time? No. I have one. Just regarding the project, did we suggest or find it necessary to do a traffic study on this property? And is that typical for an application of this type?
So the project was reviewed by Public Works, and that wasn't an issue that came up. Additionally, as I stated, the project is proposing more than what is required for off-street parking, so it wasn't an issue that came up.
Thank you. And I think you stated in your staff report, what is Public Works' opinion on this? Is there a recommendation from Public Works?
Public Works have reviewed the project and supported it coming to Planning Commission. Additionally, the project is proposing, I believe, widening the curb cut, which will also help.
Thank you.
And if I can just chime in just a little bit, in terms of the process within the city, we go through a interdepartmental review process that's iterative, so it has been reviewed several times by both Public Works and Planning and Building and Safety in a joint group meeting where we vet the projects to see what issues we find with the projects, and this was a traffic study was not deemed necessary.
Thank you. No other questions of staff at this time? All right, then I will ask if any of, hold on. Do any of my fellow commissioners have disclosures to make? This can include site visits, et cetera. Commissioner McNally?
Site visit, and families bought a lot of cars at Jama Automotives over the years.
Commissioner Hoffman?
Site visits.
Site visit.
Site visit.
And site visit. All right, we will now begin the public comment portion of the hearing. All questions and comments on this matter are to be directed to the commission and not the audience. Is the applicant present? If so, please approach the podium to make your presentation.
Good evening, Planning Commissions. This is Puya Payan. I'm from the architect team of the project. As the planning staff had presented the project, we are remodeling an existing 4,700 square foot building and not adding any square footage. It's the same square footage. We're adding landscape. The existing building is completely run down and it's not even in a condition of being used. The entry to the site is from the 7th Street and the exit is from the 8th Street. At the 8th Street, there's a red light, which helps with the traffic, and there's only right turn, so the left turn is not allowed on PCH. And for the same reason that there's no square footage added, there's no additional traffic combined to this with this proposal. And I think that the proposed project has met the requirement of the city, and it's cleaning up a site that it's an eyesore, and I would urge you to approve the project as is. Thank you. I'm here for any questions that you have.
Thank you. Is there anyone from the public that wishes to speak on this item? A reminder, you have up to 3 minutes, and we will accept Zoom call-ins after we hear from everyone in the...
Can we ask questions of the applicant? After?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. If you want to speak on this item, please approach the podium.
I need one more second up there. It says 2:59. My last name is Tesar, T-E-S-A-R, and I live at 925 8th Street. I hope you've read the comments that were submitted in connection with this project. I'm here on behalf of myself and my neighbors on each side of me. We all live on 8th Street between Ocean and PCH, And we are delighted that somebody is going to upgrade this property and do something with it. We would be in favor of just about anything that anybody can imagine doing there as an improvement over what exists. So I would like these gentlemen to understand that the neighborhood is happy about something happening there. Regarding a traffic study, our concerns are about the ingress and egress flow through the project. We're not primarily concerned about whether there'll be more cars, although one of the gentlemen that just spoke said there won't be any increase in cars. Well, when you go from JAMA to 6 units, maybe one of them a Pilates class, that's just not necessarily the case. JAMA had very little traffic because they were repairing cars and selling them. There just isn't a lot of people coming in and out. The parking on the site is also not a question. There will be plenty of that. The problem is ingress and egress, and as I think probably all of you know, that's a pretty funky intersection at 8th Street and PCH. Just walking down here from my house for this hearing, lo and behold, proving my point, a car coming southbound on PCH turned left onto 8th Street, headed east, go, oh no, so it turns into a one-way street. They have to go into Casey's and turn around and head back out to PCH. This happens on a regular basis. Also on a regular basis, although perhaps less relevant, is the people that ignore that it converts from two-way to one-way and just blast their way up 8th Street going the wrong way eastbound. You could finance this evening's budget in one day with the number of citations you could give out for people that do that. You also get people going westbound that when they get to Casey's in that median, they think, oh, it's still one way, so I'm going to go over to the left because I'm turning left southbound on PCH. Lo and behold, they're in the wrong lane. They're in a eastbound lane on 8th Street at the intersection with PCH, and anybody wanting to turn left from southbound on PCH into 8th Street is going to be blocked by that car that's there. So it's a very interesting intersection. I'm very skeptical. As one commenter said, they thought that you'd have to put spikes to keep people from going the wrong way out of that exit at 8th Street, or going in rather, because people are just, when JAMA was there, people would cut through the parking lot, and because they can't turn left from 7th Street onto PCH southbound, so they'd cut through the JAMA lot, and so they could turn left on 8th Street, get to PCH, and then go up or down PCH as they wished to do, because you're limited at certain times of the day making a left turn from 7th Street onto PCH. And as a practical matter, with the flow of traffic, a lot of times you just can't do it. So the parking lot becomes a shortcut and a way of getting around the practicalities of navigating in that area. So I would support this project wholeheartedly. I'm not sold that we're not asking for a lot of ingress and egress, congestion and consternation. And I don't know, I'm not convinced that that was looked at very, very carefully. And maybe some things can be done to tweak that. I'm not against this project. I think it needs tweaking with the ingress and egress. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, Commission. My name is David Graythen. I have two disclosures. One is that I'm a Public Works Commissioner, and the other is that I live on Prospect in the area, and I frequently drive on 7th Street, 8th Street, and 8th Place, and 5th Street for that matter. There was quite a bit of public written public comment about the traffic flow. I suspected there might be, and I'm the one who suggested to make sure that I wrote an email asking planning and public works to be sure they're coordinated, and I appreciate Alexis explaining the process that was underwent there. And I don't know who else is going to speak now. So looking at this in a couple of ways, I don't know how much of an issue we're really going to have. There could not be a lot of increase in traffic, and this could be nothing to overanalyze or be too concerned about. On the other hand, there is a possibility. So I don't know if we want to be conservative and plan for the possibility there's a lot, or if there's some mechanism where we can just go ahead with what we have and see if everything's okay. Speaking further into the scenario where we do have issues, looking in terms of the impacts and the way those impacts might be distributed among all the stakeholders, one scenario is where we perhaps minimize the traffic flow onto any of the side streets, perhaps going so far as to have a new driveway on PCH directly, and we don't have any traffic cutting through the side streets at all. That would put quite an onus on the property owner. Another one is we go ahead and we keep that one-way flow in either the proposed direction or in the opposite direction. In that sense, we're probably distributing the burden at least amongst the people on 7th Street and the people on 8th Street, and also don't forget 8th Place as well. And then if you think about which direction, it's preferred to go one way or the other, I do agree with the previous speaker that 8th Street is quite challenging there, and I think that if you're going to have either ingress or egress, I think it'd be better to not have egress at 8th Street, but have the ingress there and the egress onto 7th. What you would get is sort of a couplet in the sense that the 8th Street people would be additionally burdened because they would get the incoming traffic from Prospect utilizing the efficiency of there being a one-way flow there. And then the 7th Street people would have to do their part by accommodating the other side of the couplet, which would be the egress traffic onto Prospect. So that may be a way to have an equitable solution amongst everyone. Again, I don't know how big of an issue it is, but I just wanted to give you a lot to think about in case you do have an appetite for further discussion, and depending what others might have to say online. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else in chambers that has public comment on this item? Seeing none, we'll move to see if there's any comments online.
We have one hand raise. Brandon McBurney.
Hello, my name is Brandon McBurney. I live around the corner on 6th Street. I walk by this site every day. I'm a huge proponent of East of PCH becoming amenitized for our residents that live on this side of town. I do want to say I am also a commercial lender for commercial properties. And so some concerns that raised in my head just as the credit committee had some questions. I understand that we don't have to go through CEQA, which is great, but I think that it would be interesting to see if there was a phase 1 done with any loan with this that could be shared with the board, because it is a old car dealership. There may be concerns of problematic materials that have leaked into the asphalt and that can be disturbed and dispersed during construction. That's a big issue with lenders. So if they already have their loan, if that came up, if they're willing to share a phase 1, and if a phase 2 was done, I think it would be really interesting to know for residents, especially as it may impact housing and water and other things in the area in terms of just environmental issues. I may have missed this. I have trouble joining the Zoom, but just on a market comment, it's very difficult to lease up spec retail right now. So as many leases as possible that are pre-signed up and we're building specific TIs, the better, just because we don't need another giant building sitting empty for another year. But that's it, and hoping that this goes through and is successful, and looking forward to what comes next.
Thank you. Any other raised hands online?
No other hands are raised.
All right. Does the applicant wish to make any further statements in response to the public comment portion of the hearing? And I think some of my fellow commissioners might have some questions too, so if you can stick around.
So I just wanted to clarify, the existing entry to the site is from the 7th Street, but it has the car, in order to get out of on the 8th Street, they're getting too close to the intersection, and that's what's making the turnaround a little bit tough on the 8th Street. And since the 8th Street is one way in that area toward the PCH, it only makes sense to stay within the same flow of traffic that it is right now. What we have done to make the turnaround easier is that once you enter from the 7th Street, you go straight across and then you exit on the 8th, which makes your turn much easier on the 8th. And again, since this is an existing building, it can have and have had before 22 when it was occupied, the same amount of traffic going in and out because it's the same square footage, and we're just remodeling the same building, making it look nicer, and I believe that the traffic is not going to get significantly impacted because of these commercials. And I'm available for any questions that you may have.
Commissioner Flaherty?
Sure. Thank you very much for your time. Existing parking in the rear, for decades, there's been other cars back there, but over the last couple of months, the cars that are there, some of them are damaged and with signs on them and so on and so forth. Do you have a lease or a contract with anyone in the neighborhood for those particular vehicles right now that are on property? There's 5 vehicles on property right now in the back on the east side. Okay, well, obviously during this process, we would like you to remove those vehicles because some of them are not for sale, some of them have signs on them, some of them's a U-Haul trailer, et cetera, et cetera. You might want to investigate that, whether your good friends and neighbors to the north are storing some of their vehicles, or the east either. The second thing is that area that I'm talking about with those vehicles is going to have bicycles. There's not enough room to actually put a vehicle and one past the other to get in and get out, but it certainly would have a value for employee parking if you had some opportunity, because it's stable. It's been there for the 50 years that I've known it. So you might consider that to be a useful spot. The next thing is the trash enclosure. It doesn't describe in your document what type of material, how high is it? Is there going to be a slight influence at 8th Street? It's next to the corner. So if you could tell me what the material you're going to use, is it going to be comparable to the building itself where you have sheet metal and so on and so forth?
Sure. Regarding the first removing the car, I'm sure the owner would make sure that those cars are removed.
Perfect.
I don't think he is even aware that they're there. So the other issue is regarding parking in the rear yard. We originally proposed parking in the rear yard for the employees, because employees can come park tandem and
Right.
use that area. But the planning department informed us that that area is part of the rear setback of the property, and we are not allowed to park. So we removed those parking. We would love to use those for our employees if it's allowed. And maybe further communications by you can be done to planning department, because it seems very feasible and reasonable to be able to park there. But for some reason, the code restricted. Regarding the trash enclosure, we have specs and details on sheet A-10.2. If the planning staff can put it on the, it would help. That it has, it says, it describes the height, the dimensions, and the material on the trash enclosure.
Okay. Thank you very much for that. The next question is, I encourage you, the pictures of your site, proposed pictures, obviously don't show that trash enclosure in the artist rendering. But the egress and ingress, when you do the new asphalt on the parking lot itself, I would encourage you to use painted arrows to indicate traffic flow at both the 8th Street side and the 7th Street side. So you have little arrows you list on your map, but they're not typical flow arrows. If you could look at traffic control arrows, they actually help people recognize they're going in the wrong way or whatever. Again, that's based on this flow of traffic. The other question is very interesting how the original exit onto 8th Street is encumbered by a 1-inch cable that runs down from a telephone pole. You would have to have a very small car to exit in years past. You can't get a car out there. So that was used very little at the time. The angle of your new driveway as it's tilted both elevation-wise and perpendicular-wise to 8th Street, what was the angle chosen for it? Was it an easier left-hand turn onto 8th?
Correct. It's an easier left-hand turn, and because we have to be able to make our parking work, and so the aisle has pushed down a little bit, but it also helps with the turnaround on the 8th.
You can't go further up the property?
If we do that, we're going to lose half of our parkings.
Okay. Storm drains, on site, there's at least 2 catch basins on the property itself. Some of them have been disabled, some of them, the grates are no longer there. I strongly recommend, since this was a automobile repair place for 50 years plus, that you take a good look at the piping and the catch basins and clean them out before you start over paving and things like that. The retaining wall on the northeast section, are you going to remove the wall itself and then backfill? And you don't feel comfortable that you won't collapse the sidewalk as you remove that retaining wall?
So we had a lot of back and forth with planning and building and safety regarding this issue. Our soil engineer had looked at this, and our civil engineer had looked at it. That's why we are doing ABC slot cut, which is a temporary shoring for the wall. Essentially, we're gonna remove part of the wall every 5 feet. First, remove 5 feet, fill it up, and then as we go. So that was the recommendation from the soil engineer and the civil engineer, and we believe that it's perfectly safe.
Thank you. The last thing I have is there's existing light standards throughout that parking area that was used mainly for nighttime security and other issues display. They're in disrepair, to say the least. Are they going to remain or be replaced or refurbished?
So those lights are going to be removed and replaced with new lighting for the commercial, down lighting, some landscape lighting, and some ambient lighting.
But you won't have pole lighting, you'll have, okay, so everything will be either down off the building or up onto a landscaping lighting?
Correct.
Okay. What do you think the potential users are? You heard a couple of comments tonight. It's not being rebuilt to put in another automobile place.
Definitely not. So it's being rebuilt. The owner has a lot of commercials in Hermosa Beach and in other locations. He was thinking of nail salons, barber shops, massage places, yoga studios, or things of that sort of retail.
And thank you very much. Thank you for your time.
Any other questions of the applicant?
Yes.
All right. Vice Chair Izant.
I'm certainly not a traffic engineer, but I would assume that if you're expecting or assuming that if a customer is traveling north on PCH, they're going to turn right on 7th and go a few feet and then turn left and go north into your parking lot. Is that a correct assumption?
Yes.
If they are heading south on PCH, I assume that, or maybe I shouldn't assume, do you expect that they are going to turn left at the 8th Street light and go up a few feet and then turn into your facility?
I don't think they would do that because it's a one-way street.
It's not a one-way street there. Do you expect them to turn left at 7th Street?
No, they have to go past and make a U-turn, and while they're going west on PCH, turn right.
Isn't that rather inconvenient for your customers?
It is.
So here's my, and again, I'm not a traffic expert. I think most folks are going to turn left at 8th Street and use that north entrance. And so what I would suggest to you is that all the parking spaces on the west side be angled to accept cars coming in from 8th Street, because that's what's going to happen. And right now, they're either going to have to back into that parking stall the way you have your parking lot designed, or they're going to have to make some sort of a fish hook. But I'm willing to bet most of your southbound folks are going to come in through 8th Street. They're not going to go down the 6th, make a U-turn and come around. They're just not going to do that. Would you consider taking the parking spots on the west side of the parking lot and angling them north rather than having them face south now? Because those folks, once they did their shopping, they would back out, they would head south, and they would come out and go on 7th Street and turn right and go north. So that's my question. Would you consider, because I think most folks coming south are going to use 8th Street, and if they do, then your parking lot is not going to work well.
It has to be a one-way street.
It's not. It is a one-way street about 50 feet.
One-way aisle, sorry. It has to be a one-way aisle within my parking lot. Otherwise, I would lose half of my parkings. So it has to go in from 8 and exit from 7. It cannot be a two-way aisle, or half of those parkings are gone.
Well, again, I'm not a traffic engineer, and I have not scaled out how much of a car would fill each of your spots, but I think this is a flaw in your traffic plan.
Thank you for the comment, but we would consider it and see if a one-way aisle from 8 to 7 would have worked, but it seemed a more problematic direction.
No further questions.
How about on this side? Do either of you guys have questions of the applicant?
The question I have is how Commissioner Flaherty was able to copy my notes from the far end there.
You were
The
out of
first
town.
item have is circulation, number 2 is trash enclosure. And no, there's not a question of the applicant. Thank you.
I want to follow up on my colleague Flaherty's comment on the anticipated use of the property. As I'm sure you guys are well aware, there are some vacant retail here in Hermosa Beach, and we're working hard to do that. One, I think the project's awesome. I think the renderings and the architecture that you shared with us look great. I think that the other issues will be resolved with some good thought. But, you know, I really would hope that the applicant has a much better retail strategy, because the answers you just gave, such as like a barber shop, and you realize there's a barber shop on both blocks next to you and a nail salon across the street, and, you know, Unit B is 641 feet. I don't know how you can get sales per square foot to make market rent on PCH. I'm just hoping that you'll continue to work to have a better retail strategy, because a lot of the things that you mentioned are already on PCH, very, very near you. And even some of the more unique retail spaces we've had have struggled badly. And in order for this to be a success, and I would like for you to be a success, you got to have a lot more retail strategy.
Just question of the applicant. You mentioned it has to be one-way traffic. It could either be from 7th Street or 8th Street in order to preserve the parking as designed. But you studied 8th Street and it seemed like there were more issues. Can you just elaborate what the issues would be if you were to have the ingress off of 8th Street and the egress from 7th?
So 8th Street is a far narrower street, and it is one-way partially, so it makes it harder to enter into the 8th Street, and it allows left turn on PCH. The whole intention of keeping the same flow is that you don't want to do left turn into this commercial center, because that's gonna make everything more complicated. So you want to make a right turn from PCH into 7th, and with the flow of traffic continue and get out of 8th.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions of the applicant at this time? All right, seeing none, I will close the public comment portion of the hearing and bring the matter back to the commission for discussion. Seems like the applicant has one more thing to say.
Good evening. My name is Maurice Truffaut. I'm the owner of the property and the developer of the site. I just want to give you a brief history about my work in the city. This is not the only property that we own in the city. We own 1310 PCH, where the Vans is. We just, did the total rehab and brought fit stop in it. Years ago, I developed 300 PCH. Same type of situation, same type of egress of the property. We've been successfully getting a fitness place. I just put in Good Vets animal clinic. I will talk about the retails that you mentioned. We did 243 PCH, also a dilapidated building, which used to be a real estate company. Right now, I believe they do facials and beauty services. So I'm very aware of the city that you're in. I do appreciate each and every comment. And I have instructed Puya to give it its best shot to bring an architecture that enhances the boulevard, address and hope to bring tenants that will community benefit. So in designing, I told Puya not to worry about cost. If it's gonna cost more to bring a beautiful building, because a beautiful building, a beautiful landscape, a beautiful hardscape will make a difference at the end of the day. So we have not, I just want, as far as the comments which you made about egress, it's been in the planning commission, your traffic department. I think each and every part of your city has commented on this. We have been in the plan check for the past, year and a half. Something that shouldn't take this long. We do appreciate it, but please understand that we bought the property with the intention of beautifying, enhancing it. I think this boulevard, all the car lots, with all the respect to all car dealers, they have to go, because it just makes the city much more beautiful. I think the residents will welcome that. And PCH has its challenges. There is nothing I can do or you can do, anybody else can do. There is a highway with a lot of traffic, and we just need to live with what we have and do the best that we can. And I just want to assure you that we have done our best to address each and every case, because I do not buy property to sell. We buy to develop and to keep. 1310, we bought it 20 years ago, we are still the owners. 300 PCH, we bought it, 25 years ago, we're still the owners. So we are not here to do a fast one on the city, but there are so many things which is within our power, which we can exercise. Now, as far as the tenants, I don't know why, it is not my, we have had marketing, and I think we will end up with 1 or 2 tenants on the site, possibly 1, because the site is desirable, and there are veterinary clinics that they have shown interest. There are several high-end coffee houses that they have shown interest. Some great restaurants, local restaurants have shown interest. We are hoping for the best. So I am not, we bought this 2 years ago. Like I said, it was a huge investment. There's going to be a larger investment to enhance what we have. So I'm not going to undermine and try to end up with a nail shop. That is not my intention. So.
Thank you.
Another question, I'd be more than glad to answer.
All right, thank you. I will now close the public comment portion of the hearing and bring the matter back to the commission for discussion and deliberation. I will start on this side. Commissioner McNally?
No questions at this time.
All right. Commissioner Hoffman? Yeah, this is just for discussion.
It's if I look like I'm smirking, it's because my notes that I brought with me on a yellow sticky pad, it contain all the same things. It's on PCH, and I guess the Commissioner Grayson commented on it. My disclaimer is my kids live on 7th Street. We live one house off of 8th Street. I've been through that intersection. I'm not exaggerating, 1,000 times since our kids or grandkids are down in their 20s. And it is a difficult intersection, and it is two-way, 50 feet up the street, and then it becomes one-way. The key is that it's two-way beyond the entrance to both of these 2 properties. I've sat at that intersection and watched everything that Dave mentioned, people turning the wrong way, someone want to get into Casey's, and then you've blocked both streets. It's a mess. I've also come down 7th Street. 7th Street is not a good street to turn on to PCH from. Just the traffic lines there, the view lines, sight lines aren't good. It's a very difficult property. Commissioner Izant has suggested an alternative plan. My sense of that is that puts all the traffic onto 7th Street, which is probably not what we want to see happen. The way it is here, coming out to the north, you're going to have to turn onto PCH. You're not going to go up 8th Street, understanding that people do it, but technically we're not. Some more signage there probably will be effective and so forth. And then my second comment here was, we don't get to dictate the use. And with a range, it all depends. There are properties comparable properties further south on PCH. Some of them are basically dead in terms of traffic, very, very low volume. Others, the 7-Eleven and so forth. Some of the restaurants at high volume, but at very kind of peak times. But we don't get to dictate that. And while we certainly don't hope that what goes there is not a successful business, were it, for example, to become a real estate office or something like that, it'd probably have a relatively low traffic flow. If it turns out, a nail salon, that's a relatively low flow, although that's often very labor intensive in terms of the number of employees. But we can't anticipate that. The other issue is, quite frankly, the aesthetics of it. If we were starting from ground zero, I'd say no to any project that had parking on PCH. And move the building to the street and have a facade that's more attractive and so forth. That's not the case. I'd think long and hard about whether I would put a traffic enclosure on PCH, and I appreciate Commissioner Flaherty asking about that. What's not part of this, and which is not part of our consideration tonight also, of course, is the signage that will go there, and how that plays out will have a huge impact on this. We don't deal with the sign permits, so that's a different issue. So I'm somewhat, not stymied, but I'm looking at this going, okay, is this the ideal project? Absolutely not. Is it possible to have an ideal project on PCH that's a remodel of this existing facility? And my sense is no. Is this, again, if people are coming northbound and turn on to 7th Street, come into this, they're going to come out on 8th Street, and allowing for the few scofflaws that are going to turn right and try and get around that barrier, which, by the way, if there's cars coming down the hill, they're not going to be. I think this is probably going to reduce the amount of traffic. The number of people that are going to come off of Prospect down 7th may go up slightly, but it depends what the business is here, how much traffic it's attracting that way. So my sense is this has been a long process to get to this point. Am I 100% satisfied with what the product is? No. Do I think we should have a trash enclosure on one of the primary commercial corners in the city on PCH? My answer would be no, but I'm not sure where else I would put that, although there might be alternatives. And I guess I have to admit, when you read these things and people, you don't really read them, do you? I say, yeah, I do really read them. And in this case, I found the Easter egg, and I got a good chuckle out of that. The construction cost of $100,000, come on, buddy. We couldn't do 4 bathrooms for $100,000, but short of that. So I'm going to, I shouldn't say reluctantly, I'm going to approve the project recognizing what it is in terms of the improvement over what is there today. Is it the ideal project? No. Nobody came to me and said they wanted to scrape it and build moderate housing there, but I won't get into that argument. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Flaherty?
Yes, I agree with Pete. This is not the ideal project, but the rationale I have for the traffic plan, considering that most of our emails that we got, probably 3/4 of them dealt with the traffic flow issue. The other 1 or 2 talked about the storm drain issue. I do think that the lesser of 2 evils for me was to have the traffic flowing the way they are proposing, and that's why I encourage better signage on the asphalt with big arrows that somewhat could stop someone from turning right or left off of 8th Street into that and keep it. Because if we flip that traffic pattern where you angle park the other way, you're going to have half the traffic or more go up 7th Street, which was obviously 8th Street permanently, legally blocks the traffic flowing upwards. There's not an intersection on PCH in the city of Hermosa that doesn't have some sort of a traffic mitigating sign, arrow, light. Not any intersection. Half of them were done by residents, meaning the barricades at 24th, 25th, 8th Street, all the above were all done by residents. Caltrans did the rest. So every sign that's on PCH that says no left turn from 3 to 5 or whatever it says, or no right turn or right turn only, is all Caltrans. So I would encourage, if you want to mitigate 8th Street as we exit, I would encourage looking again at the timer it takes to release traffic westbound from 8th and eastbound onto PCH, because that is set. If they need a tube that accelerates and keeps that, that would be a plan that everyone would profit by, not just the business, but the neighbors. Right now, it's a timer, and it only gives so many. So when you put 30 more or 16 more parking cars coming in and out of your new businesses, it's going to jam up 8th in the parking lot, not on 8th Street, but in the parking lot. So I would encourage, as we did, tried to do it 2nd Street. We tried to mitigate that business with traffic problems, the neighborhood. My vote is to have the traffic the way the staff has encouraged this business to do, have it one way entering from 7th. It reduces the potential people from, and angle parking immediately changes traffic patterns. So anyhow, I am supporting this project with its flaws. I would encourage some sort of reconsideration of the material used at a trash enclosure. I would certainly emphasize looking at the storm drain pipes that are in the ground right now. I would also encourage the retaining wall on the 8th Street side, which is dilapidated. There is 3 storm drain receptacles at the curb level next to their driveway and down to PCH that need to be protected. They weren't in the old business. The old business didn't have a proper exit, period. You can see it today, drive by. You can't get a big car out of that driveway. It's a steel cable going across it. So I support the business, and I thank you for the extra time, Madam Chair.
All right, Vice Chair Izant.
Human nature being what it is, I do not see any potential customer driving down to 6th Street, making a U-turn, coming back north to be able to enter on 7th Street. They're going to turn left at 8th Street, and they're going to want to enter from the northern side of this project. Now, I just Googled. The average car is 12 feet wide. I'm sorry, 6 feet. You got 2 of them, that's 12 feet. I show a generous 18 feet, both on the ramp and in the center area. So I think this is a flawed traffic plan. It's going to create nothing but confusion. You're not going to stop people coming in from the north unless you put some sort of a swing gate there that opens automatically when someone's trying to get north out of the parking lot. So for that reason, although this is, I'm glad to see the investment in this property, I cannot support a flawed traffic plan.
Thank you. I won't spend too much time repeating what my fellow commissioners have said. I think the applicant has put in a lot of thought into making an existing kind of unsightly building look beautiful. I think that there are certain issues with the constraints of the site that, you know, the applicant is trying to work around, and seems like they have looked at a lot of different options in order to make this site work. It's not the purview of the commission to tell the applicant, you know, whether to rehab existing building or build a new one. I'm sure, you know, with Commissioner Hoffman's feedback, a new building could look great on this site, but that's, you know, it's not our wallets. So I do have concerns with the inflow and outflow of the ingress and egress of the cars coming from 7th Street to 8th Street. You know, I do wonder if it makes more sense for them to come in from 8th Street and then go down to 7th Street, but I, you know, will defer to the experts who have been working on this for, it sounds like, 2 years now in terms of the analysis and the staff recommendation. So I think given that, again, I appreciate the effort to make the building look beautiful. You know, I think it will be an amenity to the residents in the area, and I will reluctantly support the project with the parking configuration as it exists. Any other comments from my fellow commissioners?
Yeah. I just want to make it clear that my comments, I live in the retail world, so they were
constructive and not criticisms. And it's not my role of who occupies your property. I want it to be successful.
All right. If we're done with our conversation, does anyone have a motion?
I'll move staff recommendation.
Second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded. Can we open it for a vote?
Commissioner McNally,
Yes.
Commissioner Hoffman,
Yes?
Commissioner Flaherty,
Yes.
Vice Chair Zant,
No.
and Chair Hirsch.
Yes.
Motion carries 4-1.
All right, we're going to move on to agenda item number 8, staff items, and the Community Development Director report.
Good evening, Commissioners. I just have one announcement in the event that it is of interest. The Institute for Local Government is going to be holding a Lunch and Learn on September 25th, Thursday. It's 1 hour. And it is entitled Unlocking Housing Solutions, How CEQA Reform is Reshaping California Development. The expert speaking at this webinar happens to be from BBK. And so if that sounds interesting to you, I'd be happy to forward the invitation along, and we can all get up to date on the latest and greatest for CEQA reform.
What was the date of that again?
That's all I've got.
All right. Item number 9, Planning Commission comments. Do any of the planning commissioners have any comments to make?
I have a question, if I can. Dee Dee is a new permanent employee. Sometimes I feel like we need
Yes.
ID cards changing here.
Yeah, Dee Dee has been with us about a month longer than I, so about 6 months now. And this is her first case in front of the commission.
Great. Well, welcome. Belatedly. Great. Thank you.
Yeah, her picture came up.
And I guess the comment I have, and follow it up on Mike, anybody who drives on PCH now knows that for whatever reason, Hermosa Beach is the bottleneck.
Mm-hmm.
You can come from the airport going wherever, or from Palos Verdes going north. PCH has got something screwed up, and it's Caltrans, obviously, that sets the signals. And I'm not suggesting what you suggested isn't the right solution, but man alive, somebody, I guess that's a public works issue, but somebody needs to be aware that something's wrong with the timing.
They don't
of our signals.
take any prisoners, I know that much.
Yeah, it's just horrible. And it may be the intersection right there at the pavilion with the school, but something's wrong on.
Madam Chair, I do have a quick question to staff.
Sure.
I thought this staff report for the last 2 items were excellent, a lot more expanded on subject matters. And I find very interesting the one, not just the emails that we now can read even last minute, but there was a little scorecard that came with, 5 and 4, 5 against, 1 opposed, 1 no comment, and so on and so forth. But I will remind you that the 3 against from the same gentleman, I think, should only be 1 against. He had 3 different emails. Mr. Lee, Mr. Howard Longacre E. Had 3 comments, all of them wonderful comments, by the way, but I think he only gets 1 vote on that tally. Just a thought. Not 3 votes. And that program, the way you set it up, actually has value to me. Not only do I get to read the emails separately, but know that they're out there, and then see, what the percentage, what comments we are getting and how they set. I found that you listed them as being both a yes, a no, and a neutral type of thing. So keep it up, but I don't think Mr. Lee gets 3 votes. Thank you.
All right, go ahead.
Just an observation that we've now had 2 large properties come before us, 911 First Street, now the JAMA site. Both of them were key elements of our housing program to help us fulfill our arena numbers. And the city rightfully is not in the business of doing this kind of housing, but I think it's the legal obligation to provide the opportunity. And for a myriad of reasons, and probably good and probably financial, so far, no one has chosen to avail themselves of that particular opportunity. So not a lot we can do about it. I just find it a little disappointing because properties this size don't come before us all that often.
All right, moving on to item number 10, future agenda items. Do I have a motion to approve?
Actually, on this item, there is no attachment. It's just this placeholder. You received the tentative future agenda at your last meeting.
Mm-hmm. Oh, okay, and we adopted it already. Okay. All right, then that leaves us to item number 11, adjournment. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
I think it's been moved and seconded. All of those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye.